Hey everybody, it's Made by Papal channel here. I'm just trying to get this channel started, so if you could subscribe and all that, it'd be good. I'd appreciate it. I'll try to have more videos up of different stuff. Leave a comment if there's stuff you want to see. Woodworking stuff and just kind of generic tool videos. Thought I'd just show some of the stuff. A lot of people's probably seen them, but I've got a collection of tools that not everybody would know what they are. So just kind of going through some of the different tools I have. Like this one here. This is a set of brake pliers, or I call them brake pliers. But, you know, it's got the hooks for putting the springs on, for compressing them down. It's got the end here. It's got a groove in it for the springs. And then on your rear brake, your rear brakes, it's got the little clamp there. If I can get a focus, there you go. If I can get a clamp for the little pins that hold everything together. There's a compressor for the steering. There's a star ring inside of. Other cars may have them. I know I've used it on GM, but now this is before the airbags. Before they had the steering wheel airbags. But there was a star ring inside the steering wheel that you had to compress down to pop a little ring out to be able to get the steering wheel off if you wanted to change the ignition switch or whatever. So this would screw into the main shaft on it, and then you'd run this down and it'd compress it, and then you just took that little clip out. And then, and I'm definitely not a professional, so if the video quality is not that great, I apologize. I'm doing this on my phone. I don't have the big YouTube money like some people to have a whole good setup. These clamps that this is for, they're super annoying. It's you can use it for other clamps, but I had a Dodge van that the radiator hoses use those clamps that you have to pinch together. It doesn't have the screw in it, and you got to use this end here, and then you squeeze it, and it compresses it together, and then it'll lock. And it's got a little hand over here to unlock it, and that helps you get the clamp off. These are super annoying, the clamps, and I didn't even know they had this tool for years. I used to just fight with it with a pair of pliers, and I found this one day, and I grabbed it, and it's like, oh yeah, that's a whole lot better. And then these here, if you ever have an electric water heater, these are the wrenches to take out the heating elements. It usually comes with a bar to put through here, but it typically gets lost. But you can just put a screwdriver through there and twist it. But it's the right size for the heating elements. And then the brand I have is Craig. There's other brands out there for pocket hole drills. Over here, like this hole right here, it grooves in so that you can put a screw in, and on the other side you can't see where it's been joined together. It's mainly used for cabinets and things like that, but if you're doing tabletops, it works pretty good, at least I've found. But you put your wood in here, and then you set your clamp, you clamp it down. It's got a special drill bit that is what cuts at it at an angle. Well, when you got your wood in here, when it comes through, it cuts the wood at an angle, and that's what gives you that angle on your bit, or sorry, for your screw to go in. And then you got measurements on the side, and then right here you got charts on the side where you put your drill bit in there, and so you can adjust your collar at the end so that you don't go too far and drill through the top of your table. And then there's a special bit, square drive bit, to run the screws in. And there's special screws for it too. And I guess I'll show you since I'm talking about it. Don't mind the mess in the shop. Wrong door. The screws, I'll show you on this. there is fine threaded and there is coarse threaded. You want to use the fine thread in hardwoods and the coarse in softer woods, because the softwood needs that deeper groove for it to cut into. And then and if you guys want, leave a comment and I'll make a video just on using the pocket jig and different ways you can use it. This here, this is a marking gauge, or a line mark. You can, phone doesn't want to focus too good. There you go. You got different measurements on the side, but you loosen that screw there, and you can scoot this down, and there's a little blade here on the end. And if you go up to a piece of wood, you can just have that set whatever depth you want. So like this right here, you can have it set right there and run down, and so you could end up with a nice line, a score line that you can follow if you're needing anything. And then here's just a chain brake, and if you have, this one is for like bicycle chains and small four-wheeler chains and everything like that. Again, sorry for the video quality. I'm trying to do this by myself. But you take this part here and you unscrew it, and it brings that tip, runs it back in, and then you can clamp your chain in there. And when you spin this here, it runs it in and it pushes the pin through the chain. Again, sorry for the overly wonderful video quality here. After I break everything. Like this is chain for my son's four-wheeler, and that pin, this pin inside of here, when you clamp these clamps on the chain, that pin pushes on one of these pins, and then you got to remember, you got to do both, and then it pops it out, and then you just figure out what length of chain you need, and there's what you do. And then these are crowfoot wrenches. They're just wrenches you put on a ratchet that you can get in decent spots for. There's a little tubing bender. You just put your tubing around it and bend it. Now this is a common thing a lot of people have seen. You know, this is just like a standard little DeWalt drill index. You know, it's got all the different bits in there, and it's got the sizes and stuff. But this one I was just going to show you because it's kind of neat. This is a really, really old drill index. I got this at auction, and I showed it to my dad because he's like me. He works in maintenance, and he said he used to have one exactly like this on his toolbox. But you know, it's got the standard size, and then it's got the decimal size of it. And you know, it goes all the way down to, focus, there we go, down to 1/16 of an inch, or 0.0625. So made in the USA, back when most stuff was made in the USA. But it's just a cool old piece of equipment. And any of these things I show, if you guys want, later I can show a better video on them. I'll try to get somebody to help me and hold the camera. This is a dowel jig. You just set it where you want it, and it's got different sizes that you can drill for dowels, and then it's got the different drill bits for, you know, the collar you adjust so you don't go too far in, and it's got all the different sizes. So that this is just a neat set. Like if you need something counterboard and drilled at the same, that way you don't have to do two things. This has got the drill bit and the countersink in it, and it's adjustable, so you just loosen these Allens and put the drill bit wherever you want it. Or if you're if you're going to run a screw in something and you're planning on plugging it, instead of having to drill the hole for the screw and then drill a hole for the plug, you just find what size this you need, all different sizes, and then you set it the depth you need it, and you got both in one. This is a center finder. I mainly use it for my lathe, and what you do, like this little chunk of wood here, it's kind of hard to see on camera, but there's a big side with the plastic, and then there's a small side, and you just run it in, and this one's got a little dump sticking on it. There we go. See how you can tell I used it on this side. But you just do it in a couple of different orientations and draw you a line, and then see that dimple right there, that was where I had my piece inside my chuck, and then my livestock end hooked onto it. So that way you can also set it to where you know where to put your plate if you want to use one of these. But since I got my chuck, I just use that centerpiece. I have used this if I don't have a way to get it attached good on there. Let's see, a lot of people have probably seen these tire plug kits. I don't recommend these for long-term use, but I do recommend always having one in your vehicle, because if you get a nail or something and you're out in the middle of nowhere, you can fix your tire real quick and get somewhere where you need to be. Let's see, this here, it's a caliper. It's a piston compressor for front brakes. You can use it on back brakes if they're disc brakes, and if they don't have the type of piston that twists in, and I'll show you here in a minute how to do those or what to use on those. But this works really well. When I was a lot younger, I used to use C-clamps to push them in, and I got this, and this just a lot better. This, if you have one that has the pistons that need twisted in, if you look on each side of this cube, it's got a little bit different setup of notches, and then you put a 3/8 ratchet in it, or an extension, and on these you put it on the piston, and the piston's got grooves in it or lines in it that one set of these fit. You just have to find which set. You can buy one of these that is just for that, each one, but I bought this one. This is a Blue Point. I got just the multi-use one that fits 90% of what's out there. But you'll find which one fits, and you'll put it in there, and then you just turn it in with the ratchet, and your piston will go in as it screws in. Normally an easy way, I'm not saying this is 100% because I've not worked on every vehicle, but the ones I've worked on, you can always tell that it's got the piston that twists in if the emergency brake is mounted to the back where the pit right behind them where the piston's at. If your emergency brake lever is mounted to there, so when you hit your e-brake, it manually twists the piston and locks the brakes. So that's an easy way that I've found. And like I said, I've not worked on every vehicle, so there may be some that's different. These, a lot of people have seen torque wrenches, but I work with some guys that are young enough that they have never seen one of these. That's one of the old torque wrenches, that this bar, as you torque it, this bar bends. Well, the big bar bends. This one stays straight, and it goes down to, whatever you need. Now, this one only goes to 50 foot-pounds and 600 inch-pounds. So this one you couldn't do like heads on a car or nothing like that. And it looks like this one's the same. But I have had one of these in the past that would go up to 250 foot-pounds. And which is good because an Oldsmobile 350 big block is 200 foot-pounds. And if anybody out there knows Oldsmobile and you tell me it's not a big block, that's what I call it. I know it's technically an intermediate block, but before I get any nasty comments. These are some old Spud wrenches. I've got some smaller ones at work that I use that's actually got a ratchet end on it. They make them with a ratchet end. Mine's got a 10 millimeter and a 13 millimeter on it, like a gear wrench kind of end. But these are really good.